record, and we will go ahead and have some class. All right, so this week you were doing collaboration, and you're also looking at concept mapping. And concept mapping is not normally thought of something that is a multimedia technology or instructional multimedia, but because of the way that the platforms are evolving, you're able to embed pictures and links and video. I'm going to apologize to you right now. Kaggle has changed their permissions, and to get big pictures, you have to pay. Do not pay for anything I make you do, okay? Don't use it, even if you don't want to use a free license, it's fine. So if you are not liking how Kaggle is showing your pictures because they're like, you know, this big, you can just put a link in there and students can click on the link and then it'll open a window for them. That makes it much more user-friendly for you whenever you're in the classroom or in the workspace. I know it doesn't fit quite the requirements of the project that are listed there, but I will go with it with you rather than having you try to figure out, 17 different technologies to get the requirements to work, because Kaggle decided to change how they do things. That's not your fault at all. So like I was saying, you can pick that technology and stay with Kaggle, and you can use links for your pictures, or you can go ahead and select one of the other ones. There's several that are listed for you that you're able to, like, you can use Google Draw, you can use some of the other ones, you can use Prezi. Make sure you use an EDU account for Prezi, because then you don't have to pay for it. But those are all the pieces that, you can pick from them. You can find another one. Bubble Us will work. There's multiple ones that will work or that you can make work. And if you find one that's not listed in my suggested ones to use, drop it on the Padlet for the class, because then you can get some bonus points from it. Google Draw, well, I'll let everybody else answer. So jump in if you have an answer for him, and if not, then we can talk about it. Has anybody used Google Draw?
I have not used Google Draw. I'm more familiar with Prezi because I've done it with presentations in the past in college and now in my own classroom. So students seem to like it a lot too. We a couple of did presentations with it, so very easy to use. Like I said, with the EDU, it's helpful to get everything. So.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else use Google Draw? I've used Google Draw several times. You can drop just about anything into Google Draw that you want to drop into it. The benefit of it is that it saves to your file, Google Drive, and you can collaborate on it by just having students link. If you add in some plugins, you can get some really, really super, like, almost infographic-like effects. They have a lot of plugins that'll help with that. Draw.io is one. There are some other There's some other plugins that people have mentioned to me that I forgot to write down that also help you with the drawing on there. You don't just have to draw like with a pencil. It has all the shapes in that you can connect and add to it. If you want students to be collaborating on it in your Google Classroom, that may be a really good thing to do. And if you look through the things that you have that you can add into your Google sites, they have other concept mapping platforms that I have not played with. The weakness of Google Draw is the learning curve is not as easy as double click and you have a bubble, put the word in it. You have to kind of drag and drop the things, but it's not a hard platform to work with, in my opinion. So, and as they update, with every iteration that comes out of different browsers and different iterations of the Google Draw product and Google Drive, sometimes they're better and sometimes they're worse. The last set of Google Drive stuff before they updated Forms and Google Draw and all of that, I liked it better than what I do now, but it's still very capable and it works very well. And as Sean said, Prezi is pretty good. Too many Prezis in a day and I'm about ready to throw up, even though I love roller coasters, because the kids like to go, zoom, zoom. And so you have to kind of watch that, but they do that with their normal PowerPoints too. They want to put 17 different transitions and fancy effects on it. So that's one of the things where you just have to, as a teacher, kind of pull back and make them not do that. For, obviously you don't want to tell them you're going to throw up about their project, but you might want to say things like, we're focusing on the content and not on the bells and whistles on this project. When you do it for the teacher that you hate down the hall, then you can put in all of the other pieces that might make them sick. All right, so does anybody have any questions about the project this week? It is pretty straightforward. Next week, we don't have a session, but you can hop in on Monday nights at 8 o'clock. I can post a link if you need it, or I can send it to you if you have questions. One of my other classes does not meet every other week, but I hold open office hours and nobody ever comes. So if you need to talk to me, you're welcome to drop in, then just let me know and I'll send you the link. The last week project, I'm still missing a couple of those. Do any of you have questions about last week with the QR codes or the AR stuff? No?
I was having an issue with I can't pronounce it right. Zuma. None of my stuff. I could load it, and when I would try to start a picture, and when I would scan it, it would look blurred.
With like a Rasna?
Yeah.
Okay. Were you doing it on a desktop? Your baby's stopped. Oh, got it. Were you doing it on a desktop or on a phone or an iPad?
On my laptop.
Okay, so the laptop should be fine. Where were you getting your images from?
I would make it on PowerPoint, and then I would get the images themselves from public domain.
Okay, so sometimes whenever you do that, if your images they don't have enough depth of field to them, then sometimes they won't come up.
It wasn't the trigger. It was the actual images themselves. I had 3 triggers going, and then the overlays weren't coming in properly.
Huh. Okay. I will look. I'm trying to grade everything tonight, so which probably will.
I didn't upload it. It was driving me nuts. I'm sorry, my daughter's crying. It's okay. The overlays just weren't coming in. They would load, and then when I would scan it to try to play it, they would come in scrambled. It was kind of goofy. I just couldn't.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. I've not had that happen. I've had them not load because the depth of field wasn't enough, and I've had them where they didn't want to. You would get the trigger, and if you click on it. I've had somebody have that.
Yeah, my triggers were working. It was just the overlays weren't connected. I don't know. It was like for one of my overlays was just an image, and it would look like a bunch of. It almost looked like an old TV where all the lines were kind of going zigzag, and it was, oh my gosh, it was driving me nuts. And so I've been trying to figure it out, but
yeah. I don't know. If you want to send me some times, email me a time and we can maybe like walk through it on here, and you can share and show me what it looks like. We can see if we can figure it out. Does anybody have any ideas on how to fix that?
Okay. I was gonna try to do a help screen and a bunch of other stuff. It's been crazy around my house. Sorry, my daughter's been going crazy. We've had 2 funerals this past week and another one this week. I'm gonna try to get everything uploaded, but it's just I couldn't figure it out, and it's been frustrating.
Yeah, I know it can frustrate you. Does anybody else have any issues with your asthma? Yeah.
Yeah, I put in my blog post this week. I was trying to put like a link on as one of my overlays, and then it was a huge pain. So I went to layer instead
Layer works really nice, but they only give you one before you pay.
Yeah, I get one, so
But okay,
it was nice for the one time, but
with the link, if you're trying to use a link,
yeah,
you do the link not as if you load a trigger and then add an action of going to the link, it works really slick.
okay.
Somebody else emailed me about it, and I sent them a help link. If you would have emailed me, if you would have asked for help, I have a link for you. I could have sent it to you. And
Okay.
There's a trick to it. If you just try to load the link, the web link to it, it only works on some browsers and some devices. Right now, it's a not fully supported thing, but if you add an overlay and then it's an action to the overlay, you can click to any link and it works really smooth.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
I'll email to you.
I really did like Layer. Layer was super easy.
Really nice.
to use, but yeah, then you have to pay after.
Yeah, and you get hooked on it, and that's why I don't want you guys paying for things, because you get hooked on it, and then you're like, "This is awesome! I can't use it," and it's just a suck you right in kind of thing. And I was a high school teacher for 23 years before I moved here, so I know. You have all these really cool things, and you're like, I am not buying this for 25 kids in my classroom. So
I like you. I don't like you that much. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
So the premium where you can upload everything that the free, you can do that for free though. The original upload, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't work it doesn't add any functionality that I've been able to figure out. And then don't pay for anything. Like for me, unless you personally really want it for the class, do not pay for stuff.
Okay. I mean, I can see myself using this in the future.
Yeah, you're
or
right.
Something like this.
It's frustrating.
This is the newest thing to me I've ever used. So.
That's great.
I mean, it's fun. Not to lie, it's a lot of fun. But it's been a crazy week.
Yeah.
So
I will tell you guys that we've had middle school students use it. We've also done it with a high school history class, where they've created their own Erasmus projects and then printed them out, because it's an iPad school, so it made sense for the students to do that. If you're like a one-to-one Chromebook school or something like that, it makes no sense for you to do. I realize that, but it's really good for you to have these interesting technologies that people can use, and the QR codes work almost identical to the Erasmus. So if the Erasmus is really like driving you crazy, before you like jump off the ledge, go to the QR codes if you're still working on stuff, because
it was easy for me, the QR codes.
Yeah, the QR codes are simple, and I gave you the Google link, right?
Yeah, it worked simple. You save the picture, and I got the free scanner on there too, so that works perfectly too. So
I love that Google Web. That every time I do a PD training, that's what I do, is I print out the QR codes and then I hand out iPads for people that don't have it. But they take you to one resource at a time. So the benefit of the Erasmus that we are able, from the research that I've been reading and the things that we're coming up with, is that it gives the students the multiple perspectives at the same time. And so they have these different things that they have. They feel that they have some freedom of choice. And as you know, being in the classroom, most of you, that giving the students choice makes them feel like they have some kind of empowerment, and it helps them buy in and helps you a little bit with the engagement and with them pulling into the class. Because it is easy enough that students are able to make it themselves, having them do it as a project or a way to present their information, and looking at how to evaluate the resources and how to come up with criteria for what they are selecting to include is a really valuable skill, because you Google search Einstein, you have 1,300,000 and some odd hits. But being able to narrow that down and curate your resources very carefully, which we'll be doing in week 8, by the way, is one skill that we can give these students that allows them to kind of push forward through this information overload that they have. So, all right, anybody else want to talk about that? Ryan, I saw you turned on your microphone for a second.
Yeah, I had a similar issue with the Erasmus, where one of my images, when I uploaded it, was all scrambled. So I went into Google Draw, made a very simple arrow for overlay that just said click for link, and I uploaded the image that I wanted into my Google Drive, made the Google Drive link activated when they would click the arrow, And it seemed to solve the problem for that one link, but I did it for several other triggers and didn't have an issue. It was just the very last one, and it was like a last-ditch idea of just make it a clickable link. So it solved my problem.
That's a fantastic idea. Awesome. I wish that you guys would have emailed me this week when you had trouble, although I'm very happy that you're able to troubleshoot it yourself and solve a lot of the problems. So now you have a couple of solutions to possibly your problem for that, with the images being scrambled. I'm sure it's something to do with the image quality online. I don't know. There's just some things that sometimes you can't control about it, I guess. Anybody else have a comment on last week's lesson? Anything you were able to do, not able to do?
The lesson, what I put together on Layer, I used it yesterday in class.
How'd it go?
And the kids just loved it. Yeah, loved to, the being at 4-dimensional or using the AR. They thought it was really neat.
Mm-hmm.
So something I'd want to do in the future, but
awesome.
Yeah, just got to figure out. Erasmus, I'll just email you whenever I have any questions about that.
I'll send out the link to everybody on how to get the links to load. It's just they put in this like new thing about upgrade and you can do this link, and it just doesn't work. That I've been able to make it work anyway. So, and I like Ryan's workaround with loading the image into there. So that might be another way to solve the problems too that people have had with it. But as you're working on this, if you get down to your final project and you use it for me, I would love to know about it, because that's one of the things that's on my research agenda is working with this. So I'm actually presenting in the fall on one of the projects we've done at a EdTech conference in Florida. So as you're working on this, I would love to hear your insights. And if you are ever interested in working, with something, you want some input on a project you're working on, you want to run it in your classroom, would like to see what it looks like, let me know. You're always welcome to email me after you've been in my class. So, okay, so that's last week's stuff. Does anybody have any questions about that? All right, for those of you that came in a little late, we had talked briefly about Coggle is my recommended concept mapping tool, and it kind of fizzled out on us in the spring. They changed the permissions on it so that you have to pay for nice images. So you are allowed to just link to your images. If you have them online or put them in your Google Drive, link to them. Don't pay to upgrade. If you can find another product that works, let us know that I don't have listed. So for those of you that jumped in after I went over that, then that's good. So the big topic then, the side topic kind of thing, is on collaboration. So how do you guys use collaboration in your classroom? Do you use collaboration in your classroom?
Mostly not using technology. It's a little bit difficult with my third graders and the iPads. The Google apps don't work great on the iPads right now. So just working at their groups and things like that. They collaborate on projects. They're just finishing up a research project right now. So, but I'd like to use more collaborative technology in the future.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Prezi, I've used it last month for a research project for my history class, just for brainstorming ideas for the historical person they had to research. So it's like brainstorming, their early life, their midlife, and then their later life, and just brainstorming different parts, most important things in each part of their life, and then putting that and organizing it into a research paper. So that was pretty easy for them, and they enjoyed that. So
awesome.
I'd have to,
go ahead.
Okay, I'd have to say, similar to Alex, we have one-to-one iPads for our kids, and we use Google Docs a lot for like writing our papers, but as far as collaborating with technology, haven't done a ton. It's more of like group work and projects. But I use the Erasmus with my kids as well, and that was really fun. So this class has helped definitely trying to incorporate and think more outside the box to incorporate technology.
Awesome. That's good to hear.
I'd say the two ways that I integrate collaboration and technology in my high school social studies classroom. When we do writing, Google Docs is great for peer editing, giving feedback. I can be in on that doc, kind of see what they're doing, leave comments. So that's been a really useful tool. And then sometimes when I just need to get content out to them, instead of just presenting it to them, being the sage on the stage and making it teacher-centered, I make it a little more student-centered and have them jigsaw it, put together like a class Google slide deck, and then they can refer back to that later on in the semester. And it kind of gets everybody contributing to putting that together. So the major ways I use or integrate those two things, but I'm always looking for more ways to do it, since that's something that I've kind of been pushing to do relatively recently. So.
Anyone else want to contribute to the conversation? I will say that Google Slides, as you said, Google Slides is a really great way to have students collaborate whenever they're creating a presentation, because otherwise one person owns the presentation typically, and then the computer has to get passed around, and that tends to give ownership to one student and kind of prioritize them and marginalize everyone else as they're working in the classroom, because the person in charge usually has the laptop and they do it their way and don't give a lot of kind of credence to other people's ideas. Don't feel that whenever you're collaborating in the classroom, though, and the technology is not what they are collaborating through, that you're not doing collaboration with technology, because using that piece as a part of what they are working on as they're collaborating is still considered computer-supported collaborative learning. It's still considered integral to their learning as they're drawing ideas from it and sharing it face-to-face or sharing it across spaces. So, don't think that just because it's not going through the technology, that it isn't a technology-supported kind of collaboration. So when you're writing up your teacher end-of-the-year evaluations and they ask how you're integrating technology, you can tell them that you are using this technology to collaborate, even if they're not necessarily like sharing a Google Doc on the piece that you're working with. It's still considered, and you want some backup, email me and I'll send you some computer-supported collaborative learning literature to back you up there. So yeah, I've been there. So another thing that we don't cover in this class, if you've never worked with it, is a wiki. Wiki Spaces is free. Wiki Spaces gives you a really nice collaborative platform for students to do things. It's kind of like a Google Doc. We've got 10 minutes left. It's kind of like a Google Doc, except that it is out for everyone, and you can add them in really easily by just giving them a code to log in with, instead of having to share it to them. So if you don't have a Google Classroom or Google Campus that you're able to work with, a wiki space is a nice way to do some collaborative writing that puts it out for people to see. Because the Google Docs tends to be behind that kind of firewall of the Google platform, and it's not out for everyone to see. Even if you publish it as a link or whatever, it's not a public kind of knowledge, and you can do that on those wikis if you want your students to have some authentic audience, people to buy in, or parents to see things. That's another collaborative platform. What are some other ways that you guys collaborate in your classrooms? Is there anything in particular you use that you think is pretty interesting? Okay,
well, right now, I'm stealing like everything that we learned from this classroom and pushing it to my teachers.
Awesome.
So it's been kind of nice, but we've been trying to use Google Hangouts a lot, because we just started to use Google Docs with a lot of the teachers, and they were amazed that you could change something on the same page as somebody else, 20 miles away. So that's been a breakthrough for some of the teachers. But Google Hangouts has been our main thing right now. But I just talked to our technology department, and this Zoom has been working really nice. I can't believe it's not a paid subscription,
Well, you only get 40 minutes. It's going to kick us out of here in 8.5 minutes. But I mean, typical classroom is 40 minutes. Unless you have a block class, you're looking at a 40-minute block. So by the time you get in, log in, and get out, it usually satisfies you for a classroom if you're bringing in a specialist or something like that. So, and the paid is not terribly expensive, like for a district to buy. I don't think, anyway. I've not looked at prices for a couple months. And I mentioned to some of you that were here last time, Flipgrid. If I'm in conversation with the people again, I'm begging for them for a free code again. They gave me one in April, but it was done before you guys started class. So if I get one, I would kick it out to all of you. But Flipgrid gives you a one grid free, and it is a video platform that you can put out a prompt and students can talk back to you. So those of you that are one-to-one iPads in like a lower level, it's fantastic. At the upper levels and for PD, people are using it all the time too. It's not super expensive. It's $65 for the year. Once I had 1,000 responses, they kicked me a $25 off coupon. And then the next day they emailed me, all education professors can have this for free for a year. And I couldn't use it because I had the paid already. And then they kicked it out that all of my graduating teachers, like my people that were graduating this May, as long as they were emailing them like a copy of their graduation thing, they gave them a free code for a year. So I'm kind of begging them for free codes right now. If I get one, I'll send it out to you guys. But it's really a nice product. And if you look on Twitter, like it is taking off. It is the #1 tool for a couple different categories. It has won awards for 2017. It's really interesting. So that's Flipgrid, just all one word, Flipgrid. That's a nice way, and you can collaborate with it a little bit too because you can post responses and view each of others, and if you pay for it, you can respond to them and have this video conversation. Anything else? Go ahead.
Those of you who have been in my previous classes might have seen me talk about Seesaw a lot, but my kids have talked with kids in Hong Kong this year, in Georgia, and all over the world, and it's so easy to connect with other teachers and other schools everywhere. So that's been a real more authentic audience. And
how are you connecting with everybody then?
Say it again.
How do you make the connection with somebody in
when you sign up for Seesaw, there's a shared Google Doc. I think it's like 35 pages long, and if you want to be a part of this kind of community, you can put your class code, your Twitter handle, or your email, and then teachers can go on and say, like I've contacted a few teachers and said, hey, I see you're in third grade class. Would you like to just connect? They're called connected blogs. And then we just talked about what we wanted to share, and we've sent videos back and forth. We've posted our work, like a little project, and then they made comments on it and things like that. I know we only have 5 minutes left, but if you'd like more information, let me know. I'd be happy to share more information. I don't want to take up a lot of our time here. But it's been huge. It's been really powerful, and the kids love to talk to and see other kids just around the world. So, and Seesaw is free too. So,
Recap is another one that's I think it is like a combination between Flipgrid and Seesaw, from what I can tell. I've not played with Seesaw because I don't have my own classroom other than you guys right now. So I've not played with Seesaw a whole lot. But we were playing with Recap and Flipgrid the other day, looking at the affordances of them, and it kind of looks like those three are very similar products. I tried to say Vialogs, but my computer auto-corrected it to Dialogues. It's spelled wrong, I'm pretty sure, as well. I am not a good speller, which is why I was not an English teacher. Yes, I'm old enough that there was no spell check, and my AP English teacher actually said, find a different career. So the Vialogs allows you to take a video and have students comment on it as it goes down through. So it's nice for building conversations around a piece of video. I've seen, there's another product that'll do it too, but I can't remember the name for it. But that's another way that you can have students collaborate over like a videoed discrepant event for a science classroom, or a little piece of a play or something like that. What do you, mark where you see the whatever happening. What do you think is the climax of this piece? Or where, what video, what part of speech are they using in this sentence, in this thing that you're talking about? I don't know. I'm drawing from, off out here. So those are other ways that you can have students collaborating, that they're using some online resources to do that. We have about 3.5 minutes left. If anybody wants more time, I will make another Zoom link and we can jump back in. Do you have any questions? Do you have any comments? Anything you want to talk about?
What was that last one that you were just talking about?
Vialog. It's called Vialog. It's like Vialouges or Vialoges, something like that. Okay, so then next week, week 7, we are doing assessment. You'll be doing a couple of different things with that. For that assignment, you can pick any topic that you want. All 3 do not have to play together. The last week of class, I'll hold an odd, weird time hour that somebody, like there's somebody that works, that has things going on in the evening. They can't make it to any of these ones. They want a different hour. So I'll post that one whenever we figure out a time that works for them. But it's not required. It's just like a bonus one if you want to come and hang out. Because, you know, you have nothing better to do with your time than see me and everybody else in the classroom. But the last week we're looking at curating information, and we're using Storify. If you have another product that is similar to Storify and you want to use it, let me know. I'm always looking for new things to play with. And you're also writing a reflection. I do not care if you make your blog post. I would take a screenshot of, maybe I'll email it out to all of you. So you have the blog roll from everybody in this class, because, you know, 2 years down from this, when you're done with your with your degree, you don't have access to Blackboard. And it's going to kick us out here in 1 second. So if you need anything else, email me. I promise I'll be on for a little while. I can make another one if we need it. Okay? But it's awesome to see you guys. It's nice to see familiar faces. So.
Thank you very much.
No.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
You too.
Yeah, have a good night. And if anybody needs help, email me and I will get you another link. Okay?
Sounds good.
Will do.
Alrighty. Bottom right-hand corner is the exit meeting in. It's going to be out anyway, so. Did you want to talk more, Alex, or are you just waiting to see? Oh, okay. All's good, Cheryl? You're frozen, so I hope it is.